What was my public school experience like? In 2nd grade, I was asked by a student if I had snakes in my hair. In 5th grade, I was called the N-word. In 7th grade, I got my first texturizer. A week later, my PE teacher told me that if I didn't get into the chlorinated pool, I would fail the class. And when my mom called the principal said that my hair would be fine. Her justification? She said that she asked her black friend. In 10th grade, I was called the N-word again. In grades 6 through 12, I wore my hair straight every single day because I was embarrassed of my natural hair. I take that back. In 11th grade, I wore my natural hair in a braided updo for a volleyball game. And right before that game, one of my friends told me that I looked like a house servant. Oh, and in 12th grade, I wore my hair down and natural for one day, and I went back to straightening it the next day because there were too many unsolicited hands touching it. There were too many questions asking how small my curling iron was. In grades 1 through 12, I learned a Eurocentric history, one where I celebrated Christopher Columbus, was taught that indigenous people were savages, that Asian people were put into U.S. internment camps for good reason, that Latinas were maids, and that Latinos picked apples, and thought that the only accomplishments that black people had were picking cotton fast, and that Martin Luther King saved us all. In grades 1 through 12, I read English books that were all fiction and centered around white authors and white characters. In grades 1 through 12, I thought that only white men were scientists and mathematicians. In grades 1 through 12, I saw my few black classmates seldom in class because they were behavior problems and always in the principal's office. I seldom saw them in class because they were often on lunch duty. I say they because my teachers always told me how unique I was and that I was always such a good listener. In grades 1 through 12, all of the guest speakers at assemblies were white. In grades 1 through 12, I didn't have a good relationship with my dad because he was mean to me. Because I didn't have any positive examples of black men around me in my life as role models, teachers, or mentors, I thought that all black men were the same. In grades 1 through 12, I did not know how to conceptualize my experiences because I didn't learn about race, racism, classism, and sexism until college. During my time in college, I have learned about the extent of the violence of racism, patriarchy, capitalism, and Eurocentric historiography. I have learned that historically, my people were builders, creators, businessmen and women, civil rights leaders, activists, fighters. I have learned that my people are strong, determined, driven, and powerful. I have learned about the experiences, histories, cultures, and stories of several minoritized communities. I have learned to not let my past experiences make me walk through life angry, but to utilize them as fuel to push me forward in diversity and equity work. I now envision an education system that values and prioritizes inclusion, that disrupts Eurocentric curriculum, dismantles the school-to-prison pipeline, and shuts down traditional, normative, and detrimental practices. I now envision an education system that hires diverse teachers, staff, and administrators, and that places people of color in positions of power and policy making. I now envision an education system that brings students of color into the conversation, that celebrates our cultures, that honors our histories, and that creates a place of belonging for us. Lastly, I envision an education system that is created by the imaginations of our youth. Now, let's see what they have to say.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round, and you can't find a fighter but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, I like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, bring it to its feet. Move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, that we have each other, and for that we have each other. And we will rise, we will rise, we will rise. Oh, we'll rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise.